happens to our human aura when we have negative thoughts bombarding us by others. I'm saying negative thoughts because I don't want to say evil eye, but that does exist. Now, surely we have all heard or read about the so-called human aura and its potential load enclosed around our head and our whole body. And this potential charge is also called the resting potential because it's produced under normal conditions without any excitation based on the ion density. This dynamic load can be increased or decreased for various reasons. Generally, around the membrane of all living cells, there is a potential difference of 5,000 to 85,000 microvolts, MV. This energy potential is called another electricity that is produced mainly in our nerve cells and to a lesser extent in the muscles. The nerve impulse is of the order of about 35 meters per second, or Helmholtz, and potential from 70 to 120 micron volts. But these electrical fields in our nervous system can be attenuated in some way or interrupted by other external causes with the same frequency. The electrical activity of our brain is from 5,000 to 700,000 microvolts. This electrical activity is emanated from a form of waves of 1 to 100 cycles hertz per second. It's located several inches around our head. This physical activity of our brain, as strange as it may seem, is affected by the opening and closing of our eyes, hyperpnea, but also by other reasons. The term hyperpnea describes conditions with an increased respiratory volume with or without an increase in respiratory rate. And I didn't even know that it has to do with the opening and closing of our eyes. Kindly support my Patreon account since YouTube has again demonetized my YouTube channel. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. So going down a little below our head and going to the organs of our heart, towards our thorax, we notice that its electrical field is from 500 to 50,000 microvolts, but 40 times smaller than the field of our brain. Each heartbeat emits a wave of 3 cycles, 3 hertz per second, that can be detected today with the electrocardiogram. A field of view of our eye is 6,000 millivolts and electrography is based on it. So when the light falls on our eye, a characteristic fluctuation of potential is created. This potential of the eye is emitted by the eyes. That is, it is proportional to the state of our body, our brain, and our thoughts. That's why our eyes are the mirror of our soul, as the Holy Bible says, and find exactly the application of the blink. That is, the charm, the sympathy, the dislike, the attraction, the repulsion, the love, the appreciation, the imposition on other people and others' telepathic events. During muscle contraction, 2-phase or 3-phase waves of 20 to 2,000 millivolts are produced, millivolts, with frequencies from 3 to 30 cycles per second. Various sounds are also produced. Electromyography is also based on these. The caress also implies to them, that is, the transfer of good electricity, the applause, the handshake, where the energy goes to the applause, the raising of our hand for swearing, the alleviation of the pain at the point where we hit and put our hand, and we supply electricity and much more. In general, the electromagnetic field of the environment that reaches from 1 million to 2 million millivolts, hence about 2 volts, and is much stronger than the human field, the aura. The field of the environment, which is pervasive among us, sometimes affects the human element positively, but sometimes negatively. However, the electromagnetic field of a healthy person, with the energy and light electricity it absorbs from the environment, is able to maintain balance so that action and reaction are equal. Man and every being of Earth live permanently in variable electronic fields of their respective environment. So these fields are different in cities and different in the countryside and in nature. In the city, in addition to the noise pollution we have, there's also an intense electromagnetic activity which acts on us physically and mentally. The emissions of electromagnetic waves from the various antennas of television, radio, mainly FM, mobile telephony, radar, electrical networks, industrial machinery, directly affect our cells and can make us sick, even make us going, as what we would call going more crazy. We are also affected by microwaves from home appliances because their waves are close to visible light and are absorbed by our eyes and cells. Unfortunately, in big cities, man has managed to overload his surroundings with large electromagnetic loads. So if one goes out into nature, away from all this, one feels very different, very different. Besides, it's not accidental that the world of cities at the first opportunity goes out and if one is in the first opportunity one gets to go out into nature, they do. But the consequences are very painful for those who have a weak and fallen temporary or permanent nervous system. The human body can be charged just like in the case of the storm. When the storm is approaching and lightning is about to fall very close to us, then our hair rises, it stands up. Thanks therefore to the electromagnetism that we receive from the environment, positive or negative, but also to the one that is created within us, each person has his own individual electricity, that is, his own aura. Our personal electromagnetism, the magnetic fluids that we say, escape outside our body, vary from time to time depending, of course, on our psychosomatic state, the position of the stars and their electromagnetism, their luminosity, for example, sunshine or cloudy weather, morning, noon, sunset, etc., the place where we are, whether we are inside or outside the house, in the car, on the mountain or at sea, cases in which, of course, magnetic biology, heliobiology, climatobiology, meteopsychology, and other things. The electrical potential of the atmosphere and various organs of our body are this. The atmosphere from 1 to 2 million millivolts, that's 1 to 2 volts. Cells from 50 to 85,000 millivolts, length 35 meters. Brain from 5,000 to 700,000 millivolts. Heart from 500 to 50,000 millivolts. Muscles from 20 to 20,000 millivolts, and mesh 6,000 millivolts. That's, the eyes, 6,000 millivolts. That is, we observe that the potential, the emission of the brain, the 100 cycles per second, with which in the diagram of the electromagnetic spectrum tends towards the known electric currents, but is hundreds of times lower in power, voltage is far superior. However, it's speculated that 17,000 cycles, that is 17 kilohertz, are captured by children. Short waves, 1,400 kilohertz. Medium waves, 305 kilohertz. Long waves, 140 kilohertz, 17,000 hertz, and so on. So just by thinking we can increase our potential, for example, when we are angry, a positive continuous submission, we say, I can, I am able, or to raise my energy. On the contrary, a pessimistic thought can reduce it. Our energy can be increased by our mobility or vice versa. When we exercise, a hormone is produced that raises our bioenergy, that is, our psychodynamics, because all this is based on chemical processes in the cells. Of course, some people, thanks to their strong psychodynamics, that is, their strong aura, have the ability to break various glass objects from afar, to wither flowers, to bend plates, or to cause other psychomotor or telepathic phenomena. This is due to the emission of biocurrents from the eyes or fingers. Depending on their power, man has a corresponding resistance to electricity. This resistance can be easily measured with an ohm meter. If someone catches both ends with each hand separately, a potential will appear, which is different from another person. The one with the lowest resistance is hit more easily by the electric current. Blinking is an energy transmitted to another person. Hence, a psychological effect of certain powerful individuals transmits to other sensitive, mainly person done with the eyes, mainly unconsciously, but can cause a whole syndrome of painful symptoms to be felt. For example, to make him stumble. So man swims in the electromagnetism of the environment, of the universe, and is tied to it. Science has advanced with Cyrillic photography. We now know that the magnetic fluids, that is the electricity, leave our hands and are directed at others and constitute information that those who capture it tend to respond to us. If we tie our hands, we close the circuit and there is no telepathic communication with others. That is, if we hold our fingers together. Now, our ancestors, having the knowledge, had their palms raised to go to the other fellow human beings in the universe. At the same time, they took and gave. If, for example, we have the palms on the side of our hands, do we receive? We do not receive, but we do not give either. This greeting today is unfortunately imitated by ignorant people, as well as some very strange groups. Now, who some know to be an ancient Greek greeting, but do not even know its use and tarnish the meaning as their imitator. For example, the raising of the hand, as in the Second World War, by some people who stole the greeting and established it for his army. Now, because you have to be careful, even when someone swears today in the performance of an oath that he gives when he raises his hand. For example, in a courtroom, that is with his palm, fist and hand closed in the chest, just close the circuit, and that we swear stays with us. He will not leave. And unlike the palm raised, stretched, and open, it goes to others, as our ancestors reasonably greeted. We also need to know that if we keep our palms open or even leaning somewhere, there's no way to increase our anger, which of course is always exogenous. But if we have our fists closed, then the external energy passes first through the brain. And we multiply and we come to feel as if we have to let out at someone the unfavorable energy that he has just sent to us. So to close the topic, magnetic fluids, which are or waves, which are what make us like or dislike someone, but these can also be differentiated from the rays of the universe, and we can change our minds about it, and from where someone who is passing by indifferently, even though we were in the same place with him for a long time, we finally start to like or dislike him, to fall in love with him, or vice versa. And this is from a Greek article I've just translated for you. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support.